So this is July 2021. We're in the midst of this pandemic and this takeover of this country by domestic enemies, by foreign enemies, and I'm interviewing a very well-connected man in the military, active duty, who has been in special forces, strike forces, and he's going to tell us what it's like now and how it's been changed since the Biden administration, and even before, how they have been weakening the U.S. military, and all sorts of information that we don't know about. I want to know, for example, how you are personally being affected by this mandatory vaccine agenda is one thing.
Well, personally, I'm not being affected personally myself. I'm on my way out. But beside that, I'm in a special unit. I'm not regular. I'm not infantry. All infantry is going to have to get the vaccines. All airborne. Anyone who's under Defense Department regulations, which is anyone who's in the military. So they're going to have to get these vaccines, and most don't want them.
So that's what I'm curious. Most of them don't want them.
Right. Well, I mean, you just look at history. That right there. Need I say more? I mean, just look at history. Tuskegee, whatever.
Well, you and I know the vaccines are poison, but I don't know how many other men in the military know that.
Most of them know. The ones who are naive really are the newest, just coming out of boot camp or the academy. If you're a West Pointer, you're taught the exact opposite. It's listen to the government because the government is your mommy, and that's it. You just do what you're told.
Trust the government.
Right. The scariest words, I think Ronald Reagan said this.
I was about to say that. That was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, he said, we're from the government. We're here to help.
At this point, we're talking about vaccines being forced on men in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you'd like to add about that?
Well, just that it's illegal. But then again, they've been doing a lot of legal things, and I think everyone's waiting for someone else to do something. That's how bad things happen.
This is changing the subject a little bit. It's still related in that it's related to biowarfare. Are you aware of bioweapons technology stuff they're doing at Fort Detrick?
Fort Detrick, not specifically Fort Detrick, no, but I know there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I mean, under your feet, almost literally under your feet, and you don't know about it.
Since you're mentioning under my feet or our feet, are you referring to any of the underground military bases?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them.
Where are they?
Well, there's one on the East Coast. It's as big as Manhattan. Has its own nuclear power plant. Has a Walmart, McDonald's. I mean, you name it.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there twice.
You're kidding.
No, I have a Crypto 13 security clearance.
What does that mean?
It's a handler. I was an intelligence officer for 15 years. And when I was working out of San Diego Bay, naval intelligence, and Army intelligence, I mean, I handle things that only a few people handle. And I've seen things that sign enough non-disclosure agreements that if I said anything about certain things, I'd go to prison for the rest of my life. But certain things I can talk about, like things that were leaked, like the underground, the DUMBs, deep underground military bases. They have a...
Hold on. DUMB, correct?
Right.
Say what it stands for again?
DUMB, Deep Underground Military Base.
Okay. How many are there?
From what I know, at least 5 that I know of.
Spread out around the United States?
Right. Right. And the code is out west, one on the East Coast, a real big one on the East Coast. You can go from the East Coast to the West Coast and not ever come above ground.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes, totally serious. Matter of fact, there's a place you can see right in the Dakotas. You can go right in the side of a mountain. You need security clearance. They have trucks going there, delivering everything from food to plane parts to munitions, you name it. I mean, we went under there. It's what I was, munitions is what I do,
But you can go from the East Coast to the West Coast underground.
Underground, completely underground.
Without
having to come up. And there's turnoffs. You need security clearances to get through these turnoffs. They go into other bases. They go into other areas and, secret places you can't go.
And what did they do there?
They do a lot of things. I can tell you one thing. They have 2 sets of elevators. And my security clearance got me down to the main hub, which is as big as Manhattan. I mean, it's as big as Manhattan. It's unbelievable. They have acres of farmland with lights and
farmland underground.
Underground. They run the lights up nuclear.
Underground.
Yeah, they have nuclear power plant underground, and they use that for everything. All the power under there.
They grow food.
Yeah, they grow food. They have livestock. I mean, everything. Yeah, they have everything. They have vent shafts. They have everything. But the 2 sets of elevators I was telling you about, my clearance, I can only go down to the main hub. Then there was another set of elevators that brought you down further. And a bunch of friends of mine would tell me stories about that.
Can you tell us anything about those stories?
Yeah, I can tell you what they told me. What they told me is there's actual aliens, grays.
Wait.
Aliens.
What was the word, grays?
Grays. And also there's another kind. There's different species that they talk about. There's grays, there's reptilians, all different kinds.
A gray is a type of alien.
Right. It's not really an alien. It's a drone. It's not really it's like an organic drone. That's exactly what it is.
What does that mean, an organic drone?
It's not a living thing. It's in living tissue, but it's a drone. They're not real. I mean, look, there's different types, right, that I've heard of and that I was told about. I've seen some things. They're not these grays that people talk about all the time. They're not actual aliens. They're drones. Okay. They're being used. Okay. I don't know who makes them. I don't believe they come from other planets. I don't believe any of these things come from other planets. I believe they've been here all along, and they're deep underground. And I've heard enough stories, and I've seen enough things to believe that. So I totally believe that.
Anything else that your friends told you about the dumbs?
Yeah. All right. There was this guy named Schneider, Bill Schneider, I think his name was. He's a gemologist. And he was Dulce, New Mexico. They had this base. They had a big underground base, and they were adding on to it. They broke through this one part underground, and I guess they came upon these aliens. They said they were gigantic aliens. And
they came across aliens underground?
Underground. Yeah, they were already underground.
They were already...
Yeah, and they killed. There was a bunch of soldiers killed there. There was a bunch of soldiers that were killed there.
The soldiers were killed by the aliens?
Yeah. Yeah. There was like an underground war, like a mini underground war, right there in Dulce, New Mexico. There was a bunch of soldiers that were killed. I know that for a fact, that there were soldiers killed.
Can you spell the name of that place in New Mexico?
Dulce. Dulce. I think it is Dulce.
Okay.
I think it's...
And you know people, you were just saying that you know people that...
I know for a fact that people were killed there, all right? Black berets, a couple red berets, but there's a bunch of black berets, at least 15 of them were killed there.
How long ago was that?
Oh, I think that was in the 80s when that happened.
So,
yeah.
Aliens, how could it, before the military built these dumps, deep underground military bases, the Earth is solid. How? No? The Earth is not solid.
No.
Could you explain?
Well, I mean, there's systems, cave systems that if you go down far enough, they go. I mean, they go throughout the whole planet. I mean, I'm talking about under the ocean. You know, that's one thing. I mean, I saw maps. Yeah, I guess I could talk about this. Look, there was a lot of things found. Old maps, and the military being the military, you know, there was a lot of things found. They did a lot of digging. They have these machines now that are actually, they fuse the rock. They go through and they turn the rock. It's like glass. It looks like glass, like a glass wall. When it goes through it, it burns. It melts the rock. And it turns it into glass. The surrounding, when they go through and they dig tunnels like that, that's how they tunnel now. The boring machines, these giant boring machines. In the 1940s, they started doing all these tunneling. I mean, they did it way before then. They had
technology in the 40s to do this.
They had it way before then. Look, we found, all right, just an example, and I have a paper. We found this wall in Iraq. All right, all his monoliths and the hieroglyphics and all this other things, right? They were trying to remove the wall. It broke. Behind that wall, now this wall was over 2,000 years old. Behind that wall was an even older wall. It was at least 4 or 5 times the age. It had pictures of a helicopter, a jet plane. I'm not kidding. I mean, Alex Jones had that on his site. You know, so, and I know who leaked it to him, too. I can't say, but I know who leaked it to him.
Really?
Yes. And this is a fact. We actually found this. This is something I could tell you about. And it was leaked. And I have the paper that was on Alex Jones' site in my briefcase right now.
Really?
Yeah.
What paper is that?
It's off his site. It's off InfoWars.
And it talks about what you're talking about now?
Yeah, it was leaked to them, and they put it out.
I see.
And they took Alex Jones down over some made-up things, you know, and that's how they do. That's how they do it. They destroy you, or they kill you. One.
Did you hear about the suiciding of the Capitol Police recently?
The suiciding of the Capitol Police?
You know what suiciding means?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be...
No.
Yeah, I didn't know for sure about this until yesterday. I saw this on Stu Peters and someone named Salty Cracker were talking about these Capitol Police being suicided because they knew too much. They knew that the January 6th event was not an insurrection. It was more like a false flag.
You're right.
Is that your understanding?
Yeah, that's exactly my understanding. It's not only them. Way before that, did you hear about the suiciding of the bankers, all those bankers jumping off roofs?
I've been watching that.
Well, that was the same thing. And Chris Kyle, same thing.
Wait. Chris who?
Chris Kyle, the guy who supposedly killed, who the sniper. That was all a lie.
Oh, the famous guy that they made a movie out of?
Right.
What about him?
It was all a lie.
What are you talking about?
It was all a lie. Look, the guy was he was a sleeper, okay, and he was used, and then he was sent into the next life, you know, because he knew too much. The same thing with the SEAL team that went in to kill Osama bin Laden.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
They were murdered because they
Yeah.
found out it was all bullshit. The whole thing, excuse my language, it was all garbage. It was all garbage, all of it. Osama bin Laden died in 2003. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
he died in a naval hospital. He was hooked up to one of those machines. He had renal failure.
Right.
And I remember when that happened. They were talking all about it, and nobody's saying, nobody's saying that. And then they buried him at sea. You don't do that with a Muslim.
Not only you not bury him at sea, and they made up the lie that this is a Muslim tradition.
Yeah.
But you bury him at sea. The advantage to them is that you can't find the body. Because there is no body.
Just because it wasn't his body. There was a body, but it wasn't his.
I see.
It was all a lie. The whole thing was a lie.
Right.
9/11, the whole thing was a lie. I mean, come on. We knew about that when it happened, and
you knew about that when? How soon after it happened?
well, I joined the Army in '87, okay? And when 9/11 happened, I remember exactly where it was. I was overseas. I can't tell you where it was, but I was overseas, and we knew exactly what happened because, like I said, what I do, we know what munitions look like when they go up, when they take a building down. When you demo a building, it's a lot different.
Let me stop you. When you say demo, you mean controlled demolition, right?
Exactly.
You know, I heard that in the military, that the administration of the military was making life hell for the men that would not take the shot.
Oh, yeah.
Could you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, they do that regularly. If you don't do what they want you to do, they give you the worst assignments, and you get treated pretty bad, you know. Depending on where you are, too. I've seen people get sent out into an area that was really dangerous.
Where?
Well, Iraq.
Okay.
If they didn't do what they were told, like me, for instance, I was given a direct order to kill this man's son because he wouldn't cooperate with this crazy colonel.
You're kidding?
No. And I said no.
Was this in Iraq?
Yeah.
Wow, God bless you for that.
Well, they court-martialed me, or they tried to. They attempted to, and my uncle saved me at the very end, but they demoted me. I was a major for less than 24 hours. And I disobeyed a direct order, and they demoted me. That's why I went back to captain. I wanted to be captain anyway. Again, I didn't want to be a major.
That's horrific, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but you see that every day.
You see that type of thing every day?
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it enough times where if a commanding officer doesn't like you, watch out. Just put it that way.
Have they lost their soul?
The military? Or...
Well, that anyone that would tell you to murder or kill an unarmed civilian or a child...
Son.
I mean, have they lost their soul? You don't have to comment on it. I'm kind of implicating, but feel free to say whatever you want.
Well...
I mean, we saw the video that I think Snowden released of the men in the helicopter shooting those civilians.
Yeah.
But you've seen that firsthand.
Well, I'll tell you, my squad, they never had to worry about being put in a spot like that. I never did. My commanding officer was a great man. He was killed.
Where was he killed?
In Iraq. And that's why I got hurt pretty bad.
And you had mentioned that you had been seriously injured by an IED. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you've seen firsthand the horrors of war.
Well, yeah, I've been in conflict since I joined in '87. I've been in conflict since '89. Somalia, Serbia.
You were in Somalia?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they had kids. They actually had kids lobbing grenades. I was shooting launching grenades at us, AKs, trying to kill us, kids.
Kids?
Like, yeah, 8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10 years old?
Yeah, young kids.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you're a civilian, if you pick up a weapon, you're not a civilian anymore. These kids, how they were indoctrinated is usually you'd have they'd go into a village and they'd kill most of the men, and they'd kick in the door, they'd kill the father, and then they would hold the mother with a machete, and they would if there was 2 boys there, they would tell the one boy, kill your mother or I'm going to kill your mother and your brother and then you. So the mother would eventually say, do it, to save both her sons. So the boy would kill his mother.
You're kidding.
No, and that's how, and of course, if you do something like that, it's going to do something to you.
And this happened
Yeah, it happened all the time. That's how they recruited most of the kids that they had there.
in Somalia.
They would kidnap them, yeah.
In Somalia.
Yeah, they would slaughter their family, and they would have them murder their mother. That's what they would do. And in Serbia, I mean, they were cutting open pregnant women. Crazy.
Oh, wait, who was doing that?
The Serbs were doing it to the Bosnians.
Wow.
Just cutting open their stomachs.
Were you in Serbia?
Yeah.
Wow. So you've seen a lot of
Yeah.
action, a lot of danger.
Well, I thought that's what I wanted. I mean, that's what I joined up for. That's what I was trained for. My brother was a Navy SEAL, my little brother. So I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to do the right thing. And then when you get in there and you find out none of that matters, the politics, none of it matters. The only thing that matters is I'll keep you alive, you keep me alive. That's it. None of that matters, none of it. No politics or anything.
Did you ever hear what Henry Kissinger, the war criminal, said about men in the
Cannon
military?
fodder.
Is that what he said? He also said something else.
Animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there
Well,
was...
what they call us, too. What they call us, the useless eaters or the unwashed, So, yeah.
So you've seen a lot of horrors of war.
Yeah.
And, what I've seen, this is one of the things that changed my understanding, because I used to be a liberal. I used to look at the New York Times every day, and I started to see that they were always promoting war
Right.
from a safe desk in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
while men in the U.S. military and in foreign countries would get slaughtered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what changed my view, because I was always anti-war.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to talk about? More about the dumbs? I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. You mentioned...
Well, they have a railless train. Goes Mach 1.
Wait, what'd you just say?
They have a railless train. It's actually a rail, but it hovers about 2 inches above. It's magnetic.
Okay.
And it hovers about 2 inches above the track. That goes across country.
Across the country,
Yeah, like
underground.
Mach 1.
Mach 1. And what is Mach 1?
It's pretty fast.
Is that the speed of sound?
Yeah, something like that.
And this train is a military train.
No, it's for the elite. It's not for the military
For the
per
elite?
se. Yeah, there's elite military, but it's not for the military per se. It's just for
Like generals?
it's for a few, not all. It depends what side of the fence you're on.
That sounds a little scary.
Yeah, it is. It is. When you go down in a place like that, it's scary, going underground.
Did you say it goes from where to where? One side of the country?
Yeah, it takes like 18 minutes, I think they say.
Wait, did you say 18 minutes to get across the country?
Yeah, from the...
Yeah. Elaborate on that. It's pretty
Well, I'm not...
How do you know about this?
I've seen the train.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
You haven't seen it moving, though?
No, but I've seen it, and I saw that it's a magnet. It's magnetic. I don't know if the rail is magnetic or if the train is, but it hovers like this above the track, about 2 inches.
So that brings up another topic, and that is technology. Does the U.S. military have in its possession technology that the American people do not know about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you talk about that?
Smartphones. I knew about them 15 years before they come out. Secret militarized armament residential technology. That's what it is. It was made to be used against the population, and it's kind of backfired. Same thing with the internet, with computers and all that. All that, they had that for years and years, and then finally they gave it to the public because they wanted to use it against you. And it's kind of backfired.
How did they want to use it against us? By surveilling us?
Yeah, and knowing everything that we do. It's the same thing with the smart TVs and all that. They can actually have little cameras, they have little audio. I mean, they know what you're doing whenever they want, really.
Whenever they want to target you.
Right.
Whenever they want to target a dissident.
Right. And a dissident is anyone who disagrees with them. That's what a dissident is. And we're also American. We're also a homegrown terrorists if we disagree with them. If we're on the other side of the fence, we're terrorists.
Is this what you signed up for when you joined the military?
No.
What did you sign up for?
I wanted to serve my country. I love my country. I love God. I saw a lot of atrocities that were going on. I wanted to see if maybe I could do something about it. And we did. We did a lot of good, but we were put into a lot of bad positions, and most of my friends are dead. And I find that was all a lie. It's all a lie. The whole thing. The whole thing is a lie. Right or left, it doesn't matter. None of them are your friends. Believe that.
None of who are your friends?
The right or the left. The right is, I agree with them on a lot of stuff.
Right.
All your rights, they're given you by God. I believe that. Your right to keep and bear arms to defend yourself should not be infringed. None of these gun laws are legal, not a one. They're all totally illegal. So I don't do illegal things. So I don't follow illegal laws. If they're illegal, they're not a law. And that's an illegal law, so I don't follow it. My advice to anybody who wants to protect their family and themselves is get yourself a good weapon, get yourself plenty of ammunition, and don't tell anybody about it. Don't register it, because registration leads to confiscation every time. And you don't ever want to know what you have.
That's very sound advice.
Well,
I saw something today about, the person, this is a video that's gone semi-viral. I saw a day or two ago, a guy that looks like a black cowboy from the South, and he was taking a video of himself, and he had a outfit, a uniform, and he was showing it, and he said, I don't usually tell people I'm in the military, or I was in the military, but I was in the Marines, and I'm not trying to brag about it, he said. He said the reason he said that, and the reason he showed this outfit, was he said, if somebody comes to inject me, I'm going to kill them. And I'm not going to feel bad about it.
that's right. That's self-defense. Self-preservation.
Yeah. And I thought, and I shared that video with people that I know, and I thought, unfortunately, this is what it's coming to, it seems.
And they will kill you. They will kill you if you fight them. That's the thing. It's just one man. I get what he's saying. I'm 100% with him. But the thing is, they're not going to come at you one at a time with a needle. That's not how it's going to happen.
Well, since you mentioned that, I assume that you heard about Jen Psaki and saying that we're going to send strike teams to people's doors.
Right.
Is this what you're referring to?
Yeah.
So she said, now not that I ever trust anybody from government, much less the illegal Biden regime, which stole the election, but since they did steal it, she said, we're coming with strike teams to educate people about the value of the injection. And even Cuomo recently, a day or two ago, said, we're gonna, I don't remember the exact terminology of the verbiage, but he said, we're gonna come and we're gonna bring you and we're gonna give you a shot. What do you think of all of that?
Well, look what they did in Louisiana.
Are you referring to the gun confiscation?
Gun confiscation, yeah. Now that's it was totally illegal, completely illegal.
Wait, let me stop for a second, just so people know when that took place. That was after Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
How many years ago was that?
Oh, geez.
Like 10 years ago?
Something like that. Maybe more than that.
I'm sorry. So go ahead.
Well, that was illegal. You're not allowed to do that, but they did it.
The U.S. military did that.
Right. It was actually the National Guard, weekend warriors and the kids. These kids.
The new kids.
Right.
That don't know the Constitution.
They'll follow an order if you give it to them. Doesn't matter what it is. They don't think about it. They just do.
Now, when you're telling me that, you're reminding me of another time in history where the similar words were used. I was just following orders. What am I referring to now? Nazi Germany.
Right. And that doesn't cut it. But really, the people who implement the laws, the people who are running everything right now are really bad people. So you can't really quote the law because they're not going by the law. I saw the train.
With your own eyes?
With my own eyes. And I know people who were involved in everything to do with the train.
Now you also said the train goes from one end of from the East Coast to the West Coast. Is that correct?
Right. It takes about 18 minutes, something like that.
18 minutes?
Right.
At Mach 1 speed?
Yeah, something like that. I'd have to get down there. I'd have to look that up again, but something like that.
And you actually saw that train?
Yeah, I saw it.
And how?
I put my hand on it.
Because you were amazed by it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And you said that you had a certain clearance that allowed you to see that?
Yeah, Crypto 13 security clearance, a handler's. They give you aptitude tests, okay? And according to the aptitude tests they give you more aptitude tests, and that's how you get certain clearances. They find out where you fit.
Is there any other technology that you know about, whether you saw it or not?
And besides the phones, you mean?
Or anywhere, with any technology, like energy related, like Tesla related.
Oh, sure. When we were in Iraq, they have a pulse weapon. It's shaped like a dish. You point it at a building. And, there was a building. There's like 60-some odd people in it. And you point out, you turn it on, and they come crawling out, and they're defecating and puking all over themselves and crying and writhing on the ground. All of them, everyone that was in the building.
Is this a directed energy weapon?
It's a directed energy weapon.
You probably heard about the people in the U.S. Embassy in Cuba being harmed by certain weapon that sounds similar to that. Is that
right?
Talk about that?
Well, I can tell you what I was told by someone who knows. That actually was a weapon. It was being tested, actually. That's what they do. They do a lot of testing.
On who?
On civilians, us, yeah, the guinea pigs, yeah. In Manhattan, they did a test, when was it? 2014 or 2015, they released a gas in the subway.
I heard about that.
Right. That was concocted by the CIA, and it was actually implemented by the U.S. military. Special forces did that.
So, who's in control of the U.S. military now, in your opinion?
Someone I've never met, someone I'll never meet. I can tell you that the people who are making all the rules, they're not anyone you're ever going to see on TV. The people you see on TV, they're just up there for show. It's like a puppet show. I can tell you this much, and this is a fact. This country, this whole planet, is not being run by who you think it is. Okay? Everyone's going to find out real soon, I think.
That's good.
Maybe, but not really.
Now, do you know who that is?
Not personally. I never met them
but
personally.
Are you referring to one specific person?
No.
A group of people?
Right. A species.
What?
A species.
A species?
Yeah.
Are you saying they're non-human?
Well, you know who you can talk to about that anthropologist I was telling you about? The guy I know? He can tell you about the elongated skulls and all that they found.
Now, are they called Nephilim?
Nephilim.
Nephilim?
Yeah, they're actually offspring of angels and humans, human women and angels.
They mated with.
That's all real. That's all real. People don't realize they found giants. They found giant skeletons. They found giant skeletons.
Now you mentioned that you have a friend who is a. Did you call him a paleontologist? What did you call him?
Yeah.
And he told you all about this?
Well, yeah. I actually I brought him something I found in Iraq, and we started talking about this. And he showed me one of the skulls, and. They're different because they have some natives used to do binding on the skull to elongate the skulls, but they have a certain, like a fracture, like a that's in their skull, and these don't. These are definitely not human. They also did DNA testing, and it wasn't human.
Now, how did they do it was from a dead Nephilim? Is that how they got the DNA?
Yeah, it was
You're
from.
not going to get it from a live one,
Right. No, it was. I guess it was from the skull. I guess certain parts of certain bones hold DNA.
And where did they find these?
All over the place. You find them all over the place. They found them in Asia. They found them. They found a lot of them in Asia, actually. But they found them in North America. There's giant skeletons in Colorado, I believe. It was in this cave. They found these giant red-headed skeletons. And then the Museum of Natural History, which is run by the DOD. I bet you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's a fact. Check it out.
How do you know that?
I know it. But they actually, the DOD runs the Smithsonian and the Museum of Natural History.
Why would they do that?
Well, they go in and they grab up these giant skeletons and they take them away and they disappear. It's like anything that the military finds artifact-wise that's actually, proves God or anything like that. They'll box it up. They'll make an index card and box it up, and then you'll never see it again. It disappears. All that stuff just disappears. You never see it again.
You mentioned something fascinating. The way you described it, I think you said that they are trying to take away any evidence of God. Did you say that?
Yeah, that's a fact. They don't want you to know that God's real. Are you kidding me? Why would they want you to know that God is real? Because that takes their power away from them, doesn't it? Think about it. That takes all their power away from them if you know God is real. And let me tell you something. I joined, you have to volunteer for some programs, secretive programs, and I joined one. It's called Night Eye, and it was about you come out of your body, astral project out of your body. A lot of people don't believe that, but it's real.
No, I know that.
It's absolutely real.
No, I know
okay? I had a bad experience that when I had this experience, I pulled off these electrodes off of me, and I got up and I quit when I left.
You didn't explain the situation. You had electrodes attached to you while they were doing experiments?
Right. Well, it wasn't. Well, yeah, I guess it was an experiment. It was astral projection. It came real easy to me. It's all about the breathing and focus, and you relax your body one thing at a time. You keep that relaxed while you move on to the next, and you relax your whole body, and you focus and come out.
And this
Simple.
is while you're in the military. They were doing this.
Yeah. I volunteered. It got me a little bit higher up, in security clearance.
Okay.
And it works. And they tested me.
And what was the purpose of this?
Because you can travel to places and you can get information. Real easy, like that. And it's real easy.
Were you able to do that?
I was able to do that, but I was in the program for about 2 weeks, and they had me go around the building that I was in, and I would have to go in another room and have to read something on a page of a book that was open, okay? And I'd have to tell them what it was, and I passed all those tests. Then
Wait.
they would open up. They had 2 rooms. I was in the one room, on the bed. The electrodes hooked up. I would astral project out of my body in this other room next to me.
You weren't physically in that other room?
No, I was not physically in that other room.
And you actually were able to quote from that book?
Yes, I was able to read a paragraph from that book.
You're kidding?
No, I'm not. It's the truth.
Wow.
That's the truth.
Well, maybe you can, if I'm reborn again, you could go to school for me so I don't have to study.
Well, the thing is, the time that they wanted me to actually leave out of the building, the first time that they asked me to do that, I actually got out of the building, and then something told me to go back into my body. So I did. And as soon as I did, and I opened my eyes, and at the foot of my bed was this shape. It was a black shape, and it was like a wide brim hat. It was a shadow, but it was dark. It was black. You couldn't see through it. So it was actually, it was substance. It wasn't a shadow.
And what was it?
I call it the Hat Man, but I know that it made me feel way beyond terror, way beyond scared. It was like a hopelessness. I never felt that in my life, and it was pure evil. I never felt anything like that before or since. And I want to tell you something. That proved to me absolutely that God is real, because I know there's an opposite to everything. That's a fact also. And that was pure evil. So if I seen pure evil and I felt pure evil, I know there's pure good. That proved it to me right there.
So you know somebody high up in the Border Patrol who's a friend of yours, it sounds like, who knows that this is happening, that they're letting these illegal immigrants in, not just letting, they're purposely bringing them in. And
They want to change the whole demographic of the United States.
Yes. And is this friend of yours, is he upset and paralyzed because he can't do anything about it?
Yeah, he's beyond upset because he can't do anything about it. And he wants to do his job, but they won't let him do his job.
Has he talked to his higher-ups about it?
Yes, he has, and they're all threatening. You know, they want to fire. They want to fire people who won't go along with the program. They want to get rid of them.
And you mentioned before, this is all related to I don't know if you said it quite like this, but the Nephilim who are trying to destroy the people on this planet. Is that an accurate assessment or not?
Well, I don't know what they're doing. I just know that nothing happens without them knowing. This is from my understanding. You know, every time when I was overseas, whenever I was in a conflict, you could look up in the sky and you can see UFOs. They were always there.
You saw them?
Yeah, they were always there. I see a cigar-shaped one has one like a cylinder. One looked like a tile and all. One was like a V shape, like a diamond shaped. We see them all the time. All the time. Whenever there's conflict, you would see them.
When there's conflict?
When there's conflict, you'd always see them.
And why?
I don't know.
Well, let me tell you something that sounds like it might be related. I have read and heard that aliens have interfered with nuclear production.
Yeah, they've shut down war. They've shut down. There was a place, a Rendlesham Forest. When was that? Oh man, they shut down all the warheads. Not only there, there's a couple other places. They just shut it down. They started them up. They get them ready to go up. They pop the top, and it's ready to shoot off, and then they shut it down.
So it seems
they have
like,
total control.
But from what little I know and have heard, that is a good thing that they did that.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends how you look at it. It's kind of scary that they could do that. You know, I mean, to all of a sudden to not have any control over something that can destroy a nation. You know, that's kind of scary. You know.
Well, I mean, I've heard that there's good and there's bad aliens. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But the reason what made me think of that, of their interfering with these nuclear activities, because nuclear activities, in my view, basically, other than the energy they produce, the consequences are usually catastrophic.
Right, because there is no way to shut them down. If there's a meltdown, there's no way to stop it. And as far as in Mexico, New Mexico, they have this underground. They dig under the sand in these caves, and they store all this nuclear waste. And there's some of them that's leaking, and you have the floods, the flash floods that go through there all the time, and they're having all kinds of problems with it, you know. And this has been going on for a while. You don't hear about it.
Well, that's why I thought that, you know, you mentioned that you saw all these UFOs during wartime, in war zones.
Right.
Is it possible they were there to try and stop it, or what do you think?
Well, I think if they wanted to stop, they could have.
How could they have done that?
Well, with their capabilities, I mean, I was told what they did with the nuclear warheads, that they had complete control.
You mentioned you were told about that. Who told you about that?
A good friend of mine who knows.
And how did?
Well, I'm sorry, but we weren't even supposed to have these nuclear warheads in this facility. All right, they weren't. They were American, and it's not in America. So.
Wait. Are you talking about Iraq?
No.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, in England.
Okay.
It was secret. It wasn't supposed to be there. We weren't supposed to have any nuclear. Nobody knew. But you know how many of those places there are? A lot. The point is that I agree with you. Nuclear energy, it's clean, but it's very dangerous, and there's no way the cores can, they burn for hundreds of years.
I thought maybe thousands.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. You're probably right. Thousands of years. I'm not too familiar with the life cycle of it, but I do know that they're real dangerous, and I know that I agree with you. There's other forms of energy.
Especially since I mentioned Tesla.
Mm.
Are you familiar with Tesla?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So, getting back to the question of technology in the military that's secret, do you know any other technology like Tesla's or any others that exist that we don't know about?
Well, there's energy in the air. There's energy that surrounds the whole planet. And it's filled with energy.
Yeah, I'm talking about energy that can be used for the betterment of humanity.
Well, basically, the military is a hammer, and to a hammer, everything's a nail. So the military's not going to ever do anything to help humanity. They'll help destroy humanity.
Can you repeat those statements one more time?
The military? What the military? Well, the military's a hammer. And to a hammer, everything is a nail. So what does a hammer do to a nail? So military's not going to. The Corps of Engineers, you saw what happened with the levee, right? I mean, give me a break.
With what?
The levee in
in Louisiana?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, wait, are you saying that was intentional?
No, what I'm saying is that the military is incapable of building up. They're only good at blowing stuff up. They're good at tearing stuff down, blowing it up.
And this is coming from somebody who has spent his whole life in the military.
Yeah, well, it's all compartmentalized. Nobody knows what the other person's doing, and that's why there's so many mistakes.
Not just mistakes, but destruction.
Destruction. That's all it's about with military.
I've heard that compartmentalization that you're referring to is, I'm sure it's pervasive, and I'm thinking of the geoengineering, the chemtrailing, that the pilots are kept in the dark, and anybody starts blowing the whistle, God knows what happens to them.
Yeah, well, they've been seeding the clouds since Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh Trail, and that was the main route to bring all their weapons. And
you weren't there at that time, were you?
No, I'm not that old. My uncle was there.
I see.
But yeah, they were seeding the clouds since then. And right now, that crazy billionaire Bill Gates, he hired this private company called C-130s, and they're spraying this like aluminum. Some kind of
nanoparticles.
Yeah, and it's supposed to deflect the sunlight to save the planet. The guy's out of his mind. The guy's crazy. Like we're going to have any effect. Listen, this planet is just going to eventually sweep us right off, because, I mean, I don't think that we're going to have any real effect. I think nuclear weapons have been used way before they say they were even and came up with the idea of nuclear. I mean, there's proof of it. They found proof all over the place. Look at Sodom. The desert's glass. It's glass.
What are you talking about?
Sodom and Gomorrah.
What about it?
Well, the city, it was turned to glass. It was God sent down his fire and burned the desert and turned it to glass, right? And they found Sodom, and it was glass. The desert, so it's glass. I mean, that proves that Sodom is real. That proves part of the Bible right there. They proved a lot of it. Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, you can look that up. As long as they didn't take it down yet. You know, these people are taking everything down. It proves God or proves them wrong. You know.
I mentioned at the beginning that because I was brought up Jewish, I knew very little.
Well, it was in the Torah. It was
But let me just finish. I knew very little about the Bible. It was and Jesus, and it was a very alien concept to me. But in the last few years, a majority of my friends are Christians, where I've been learning about this. And the description in the Bible about the times we're going through are called end times.
Right.
And the descriptions are remarkably accurate.
That's right.
It's unfathomable.
There's a lot of stuff they're hiding from you.
Like what?
History. They have books and they have them in these airtight chambers under the Vatican. They also have a chair they call the devil chair.
How do you know all about the Vatican?
I studied about it. I studied all about it. I was an intelligence officer. I had to study about certain things. I was involved in certain things.
Okay. My description of I say the Pope is a pimp. The current one. The current one.
Right.
I'm not saying the other.
Well, it's the most corrupt church that there is.
And also, aren't they pedophiles?
Yes. Oh, well, yeah. You're asking me that. Yeah. Absolutely, they're pedophiles. Yeah. Not every single priest is a pedophile,
No, of
obviously,
course,
but
of course. But in the
yeah.
upper echelons.
Yeah. It's saturated with sickness, and it's wrote about it in the Bible that the most corrupt church, the one that was the richest is going to be the most corrupt, and that's the Catholic Church. And it's going to go down, and it's going to go down hard. You know, and it's a shame, but it actually isn't a shame because evil goes down, and it goes down hard.
Well, I hope you're right.
So do I.
Because right now, evil is pervasive.
Yeah.
And it has infected the minds of most of the people in this world.
That's right.
That are so stupid to take an injection, a bioweapon that's called a vaccine, that will change their DNA, make them an instrument for these elite if they don't get killed by it.
Well, did you hear what Rockefeller wanted to do before he died? He wanted everyone to have an RFID chip. And if you didn't go along with their game, they'd just shut it off. Because with this RFID chip, you'd have to buy, sell, pay your rent, and
You're
live.
referring to the mark of the beast.
Right. That's what he wanted.
Right.
That's what he wanted, and they still want that. And this might be a way of them implementing that.
Oh, absolutely. There's the technology that Bill Gates has been working on for years that would allow you, through some sort of instrument to scan maybe your wrist, or your hand, or your forehead to see if you've got a chip.
That's right.
So, people think this technology, this is so far-fetched that, one, that there even is such a technology, and two, that anybody would be so evil as to implement this. People just will laugh at you because they believe the lies of the mainstream media.
Well, I have 2 RFID chips in my hand right now.
Because you had to, being in the military.
Well, not being in the military, being in special forces, you have to have.
I see.
You have to have them.
I see. Is there anything else you want to say? I mean, we've said a lot.
I hope that this gets out hopefully to a lot of people, and I hope it helps somebody.